Alright guys, welcome to another video. It is time to get this JZX 100, the new one, up on the hoist. And we're going to go right through some things underneath this car. I know for starters, on full lock, I have an issue with the wheel hitting the tie rod. So I want to have a look at that. And just generally, I haven't been under the car. I want to have a proper look under this car since importing it. Another thing I want to do is possibly get a bride passenger seat into this car today. And just a general run over this JZX 100. I'm probably going to put my dash cam in as well. Alright, let's go for a good look under this car. Starting off, I do like the rear muffler. This hangs way too low, so I don't know what's happened at one point or another, but this needs to be tucked up right next to the exhaust, right next to the bottom of the car way more. And then this will obviously have to be clocked maybe. I know that's happened in the past. Basically you just need to clock this, and when it turns, this will stay essentially. Does it not have, oh, the last hanger for the exhaust is way back here and it's been adjusted. So actually this looks kind of freshly, this looks very freshly adjusted as well, like super fresh. So I need to find out what's happened there. Yeah, all right, so I definitely need to suss this situation out. Looks like I've got a leaky diff. Not the end of the world by any means, but need to probably find out where that's leaking from. This is the cool part. We have D-Max, D-Max, D-Max. We have sway bar as well, aftermarket sway bar. We've got solid bushes in the cradle. We've got solid dishes, we have solid diff bushes. Looks like we've still got the stock front bushes, which is probably a good thing. We wouldn't want to getting it too loud, I guess. What else do we need to look for? The chassis itself is very clean, guys. Nothing I can really, obviously it had a cage, which it sucks that it had a cage, but that's been cleaned up and the holes have been filled, which is fairly normal. If you had a cage, you want to clean those holes up and get it all looking nice. A little bit of jack damage here, which unfortunately is somewhat common. You know, it was a drift car. We know this car's been, well, we're pretty sure this car's been used for drift. It's got everything it needs to be a drift car with the big lock and everything. This side as well, same thing. They've jacked it up off a dumb spot. But again, this is not an uncommon thing for, you know, Tiana's car. JZX has the same thing. So yeah, unfortunately, another dumb jacking point there, but not too bad by any means. Same thing on each side. So at some point someone's done dum-dums and jacked it up from the wrong spot, so that's neither here nor there. Has a decent dump pipe setup on it. As I said, we need to get Frosty to adjust the top part of that dump pipe setup. So yeah, a few things left to go over. I'll have a bit of a look and get back to you, Barry. Alright, continuing to look over the car, we've got a push-pull conversion on the twin plate clutch, and it looks gold, so maybe an ORC twin plate in it. Hard to tell. But yeah, push-to-pull conversion is very cool. I love that that's on there. Right, what do we got? We got D-Max tie rods, which are big, thick boys. That's really good. I don't know what these ends are, whether they're JZX ends or not, but the clearance for them is fantastic. If you go all the way, we have a ton of lock, but so much so that we have issues with the wheel fouling. So it's either we run more offset, potentially end up with some poke, or we get some bump stops happening on this thing. So I need to do one or the other to basically eliminate that issue. Usually you just go with a smaller wheel. Trying to see what size tyre this is. So this is a 225 and it's stretched, so she's probably maybe a 9, maybe 9s and 10s, although this is a 235 and this wheel, there's no sticker sizes on the wheels. Trying to look for sticker sizes, but I can't see any.
OH Hello Beautiful.
Oh, there we go. I have 18 by 9.5 plus 30. So 9.5 rear. So front must be an 8.5. Have a quick suss. Oh, we have an 18 by 9 front. So 9.5 rear, 9 front. So that's what we're working with. Offset on these is plus 23 front. So we have room in these big front guards to be able to run more, like more offset. But what we don't have is, if you look here, when I go full lock, it will actually catch the guard here. So you don't exactly want to just chop that off, whether I run a bit less caster, which I don't necessarily want to run less caster, but there's some issues I need to work out here in the front of the car with regards to lock. Might need to go down to a smaller wheel again, but surely a 9's enough. Just need to work out where we're going. We might be able to just push this out and then I'll just see if I have an issue. Try and yeah, so maybe I can just put a mount on the bottom here to push that out and then it won't touch anymore. I don't know how close the other side gets. See, the other side clears. So I wonder if that's a caster issue or just the way the bumper's mounted. It's always interesting trying to find out issues with a new car. So yeah, big sway bar in the front. I do have front main leaking, so I need to do a front main seal on this car. I do know about it. Trying to see if there's a brand on these sway bars. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but it does have the big sway bars in here. So I need to get it aligned. It might be a case of it's got more lock one way than the other. I don't know. There's some things that need to be sort of messed with. If I put the wheel, it's a good way to tell is sort of measuring your gap here. So roughly 3 finger. We go around to the other side to sort of see where the caster's at. So there's a little bit, touch less caster on this side. So that could be part of the issue with it touching the bumper on one side and not the other. Looking at the front of the car as well, just trying to see how this guard's sitting. Yeah, see this guard, this bumper definitely sucks in more on this side. So it might have had, so this is so it's a fiberglass front lip. It's not an original front lip. So it might be just sucking this in a little bit. So I might need to just make like some sort of bracket to push this out from somewhere here, just to push it over a bit. So I don't have any issues with that tire grabbing this guard and potentially ruining all of this nice area of the car. So ideal world, I'd have a genuine front lip because they can sort of cop a few hits and stuff, but I guess if I do end up breaking this one at one point, that's when I'll try and look for an original one. So that's something for me to look out for in the future. Obviously it's got the big Supra brakes on there, pretty clean. They look like Supra brakes, I assume they're the Supra. I know some people put Crown and a few other different variations of brakes on these things, but that looks like the Supra brake to me. It looks the same as what we've got on Tiana's car, so that's very positive. Rear brakes are stock. I believe it has handbrake pads done, so that is another thing that's quite cool. they definitely don't feel like stock handbrake pads. The handbrake locks up real tight on this thing. So that's very, very cool. I believe we need to do some exhaust mods. I'm not going to do them today, but it definitely needs exhaust modifications to get this exhaust sitting sort of exactly where we need it to sit from, you know, if I can get that up another inch, that means I've got an inch more clearance under the car and, you know, less hassle from the boys in blue. You know, potentially right now when you look at the car from behind, by far the lowest thing is the exhaust. So again, if I can get rid of that issue, I'll be a much happier man. I'm gonna keep going over stuff. You can't really see it, but I can see it. It's a Reinhardt exhaust. I've always loved the Reinhardt exhausts. The look of the systems and stuff. They do a twin pipe sort of setup that I've seen Reinhardt do, and it's always been one that I've really liked. So that's kind of cool. So these are where I'm suspicious on things. So see, this is not even rusted at all. So that's been fixed in Japan, I guess. But very, very fresh, not even rusted there. I know it's obviously stainless, so it's not going to rust straight away, but there's still noticeable recent repairs there. The rest of the exhaust looks pretty good. Like I said, I feel like it really needs to go from the start. Like that dump pipe needs to be fixed. I'll bring it down soon so we can have a look at that dump pipe, but I feel like the dump pipe needs to be messed with. Once we mess with that dump pipe a little bit, we should be able to then fix the rest of the exhaust. But I think the dump pipe might be slightly tweaking the whole exhaust system a certain way, which, you know, it sits perfect here at the back. Like, I'm pretty happy with the way that's sitting. It could probably come out a touch further, but it really needs to be tucked, and it sits quite low here in the middle of the car as well. This is why I'm saying the dump pipe might need to go up. You can see where they've made adjustments here. They've sort of cut and welded to hold the dump pipe. So I feel like that's somewhere that needs to be like adjusted. That can definitely be tucked up. Again, everything on this exhaust can be tucked up a good inch, which makes a hell of a lot of difference in a country like Australia where, you know, our height laws are crazy here. So it's definitely something that, you know, that is important to try and get that exhaust up above the chassis rail. So if you see from here, you know, you can see right through, and the exhaust is very, it hangs out. So that's what we try and eliminate. And obviously I want to eliminate that because there's also no flexi in the exhaust. So that's another thing I want to do pretty much off the bat, is redo this dump pipe, put a flexi in the dump pipe. Guys, super important to have a flexi in your dump. Like, that's something I'll preach forever. Have a flexi in your dump pipe. It's going to save you so much heartache in the long run, because once there's some flexis in that down pipe, you'll stop having issues with potentially the turbo gaskets and things like that. Other notables, we got external gate down here. Everything looks pretty good. She's had a few little repairs in her time, which is, again, nothing unusual for a what do you call it, a stainless manifold. So that's something I have to keep a really big eye on. These stainless manifolds aren't the best. Ideally, I'd be looking to a different sort of manifold at some point. I know I already said about the front main seal, but I want to try and get a better harmonic balancer while I'm there. Stock ones have a tendency to go walkabouts. We got the oil cooler here in a kind of, it's a good spot, but it's like, I don't feel like it'd get a ton of air, so we may look at putting a fan on that so it can sort of suck some air through it. Intercooler looks great, it's all fitted nicely and all that sort of stuff, so I'm very happy with that side of things. A few bugs already in it, but that side of things looks really good. The chassis rails on the car look fantastic. Like, really got lucky on this one, guys. Alright, I'm going to do some tinkering around, try and get something to hold this out. Okay, I've fixed my front bumper issue. I think it actually looks fantastic. Pushed it way out further, so now when I turn, misses, no touching. The bit that I've made, super strong, probably a little bit too strong even, but bolted to the bumper itself. It's not going anywhere. The only thing now, I'm looking at the car and I'm like, I kind of need to do the other side now because it just pushes it out a little bit further. I think the wheel, if I can get the wheel sort of straight, I sort of use the tyre to sort of line up where the bumper sits now. Oh, actually, it's not too bad at all. Oh, it's pretty much the same. Okay. Thought I was being OCD, but this side, I think it's the intercooler sort of pushes it out a little bit on this side anyway. So it sort of sits out. Could maybe sit out a touch more, but overall, I think it's pretty solid. Might have a little play around, see if there's somewhere I can mount this side off. Went ahead and done both sides. So now that big solid one in this side, and then I've mounted one off my oil cooler mounting. I only need a light one on this side, so I went with a thinner material, but it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with where that's sitting. It's only small. Like I said, this car is pretty freaking good, guys. So I'm just going to be going through this thing and finding all its little niggly issues and trying to get them all sorted. All right, guys, I haven't told wifey yet, but if you watch this far through, I've got a gift for you. I'm going to give away this steering wheel, the drifting wheel. Nothing wrong with it, just not my personal taste, not for any of these cars that I have here. And I'm obviously supported by NRG, so I have NRG wheels, and then my not so secret favorite is the Nardies, obviously. So if you do want this, pick yourself an order. We got the new shirts right here, this one and this one. We've got them for sale now in the store, lukefink.com. Grab yourself a shirt. I'm going to throw this in with any order made over the next 5 days. So yeah, oh, actually not 5 days, 4 days before we go to Ireland. So we're going to give this away before we go to Ireland. Keep it on your mailbox. Okay, didn't want to film it, but I did add a little slip-on. The wheel's clearing more. Obviously, it's going to have a little bit more poke, but I've also raised the front like literally about that much on the coilover. I'm going to see how much gap there is from wheel to guard. Alright, so I progressed out the front now and I'm playing musical brides. I just need my bride to come out here. So I've gone ahead and I've put the seat that was in this car into that car, but then I've gone ahead and swapped the rails over just because the rail in that car didn't go far enough forward because it's sort of been custom done, so it goes back even further. So you can see here they've actually welded right onto the back there to get the seat back as far as possible, so the bride seat can sit as far back as possible. So I'm waiting for Tiana to come out now. I might start refitting my one back into this car. Wait for Tiana. Where's Mum?
She's inside.
She coming?
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
You know how I found the coins when we got home?
Yep.
One of them's American money.
Oh, so what is that, a quarter?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and fit this seat back into my 100 and see what it feels like, and then I want to see, I'm sort of waiting for T to come out because I really want to find out what it's like with that seat in that car, whether she'll remember what it felt like before or not. Probably not, to be honest. All right, my seat's nearly in. The bride's come out to sit in the bride. I've been running around like a headless chicken. So I've gone ahead and put the seat that should sit higher in, but I swapped the rails over so this still goes far enough forward. Okay. So this one in my car had been modified to go further back. You're sitting pretty far back. You're on a bit of gangster lean there. Yeah, I can go forward. I think you're definitely sitting higher.
Yeah, I can see way better.
Yeah?
Yeah, still don't have the things on the bonnet though, so I have no idea.
Dude, I can't see in mine.
I don't know where the front of the car is.
No, so Mark II's, if you know, in stock form, they have these little markers here. Never thought they were much of a big deal. Like, they look cool and everything. Yeah, turns out if you don't have them, you can't see where the end of the bonnet is. It's really weird. That feels all good. You did the pull in and pull out rather than the... There's two, yeah? There's tilt and then there's pull back and pull forward.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
So where's the other one?
Should be down there as well.
Oh, tilt, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that was as low as it goes.
Yeah.
so it's still the same sort of issue.
What?
When my arms are on the steering wheel, I can't move properly, but
Yeah. Race car.
it's just short life.
Yeah. Oh, you got a stock seat at some point. I nearly found one. One of you guys actually did find me a seat, but the person had already sold it all, so spewing. It was back seats, front seats and everything, so would have helped me put the Series 1 seats that I want in the back of that one and all that stuff, but
Oh yeah, because you need everything.
it didn't happen. Yeah, you can put that back down your driveway, back down the driveway now. Thank you. All right, I'm really happy with everything so far. That little bit higher in the front, I actually think suits the height of the back of the car. Ideally, once the exhaust is tucked up, I'll actually go a little bit lower on the rear. Because I'd ideally like to go a touch lower in the rear. I like the front pretty much where it is, just the tiniest bit of tighter guard gap. For whatever reason, haven't gone to alignment yet, but there's definitely more camber on this side than there is on this side. I love the fitment here. But I definitely need to do something about this side. I assume it's just out of alignment or whatever. But like I said, I think I'll go lower with the rear once we sort out the whole exhaust situation and get it up above where it needs to be. That way I don't get any hassles. All right guys, we've made our way out to Ipswich go-kart track. Finished with all the JZX stuff, drove it out here. The seating position, by the way, is 10 times better than it was. I'm very, very happy with it. But as you know, if you've seen the video, I think it was 3 videos ago, we went in go-karting with Bossy and they're killing it. A friend of mine, Benny Wilkinson, is that's his young fella there. Same height, very similar age to Boston, and they're right into this dirt karting. And honestly, I kind of like the karting stuff, but I'm not interested in the bitumen stuff, like the racing. It seems overly competitive, overly expensive, and just like I kind of turned off that style of racing because of the pretty crappy attitudes by, you see parents going schizo and all that sort of stuff, and I don't really want to have my kids surrounded by that kind of racing. But speaking with Benny, this sort of racing, it's all fun, it's all about sort of racecraft and having fun. It's really cheap to do. I think even a race day today, like today, is like $45 to go in a race. And then like practice days are like $30-something to come out for a practice day and get an absolute ton of laps. And then the karts themselves can be had for about $1,000. So like realistically, it's definitely a cheap way to get the kids into motorsport. So I've got Bossy out here so he can sort of suss it out, so I can suss it out and sort of see what it's about, potentially get Bossy into this dirt kart stuff. And yeah, if we do, it's gonna be sick. Loving it, boss? Yeah? Hey, keen? You want one? Right, so we're out here at Queensland Raceway now, where I know that there's a classic car day on. So we'll just come out here for a geese, and Bossy's filming all of this because Bossy's trying to be a mad film guy. And yeah, it's weird. There's literally no one out here. It's weird that they don't like drifting so much, but drifting clearly brings more crowd than a huge race. This is a huge race meeting with all classic, pretty cool cars. And yeah, you could throw a rock and not hit anybody else here. So.
Not to mention dirt drops.
Yeah, and a ton of dirt drops by the race cars and spinning out and doing burnouts in the grass. I guess because they're race cars, they're allowed to, so. Yep.
Oi, oi!
Oh fuck, oh boy, watch out. Yeah, I can still do the outside for plants.